Hello everyone, today in this video we'll fight against the atmosphere of our world around us, and today we will just talk about conformism and hypocrisy of some intellectuals, especially with respect of the socio-economical models they tend to praise, especially to their students during lectures in such studies like political studies, so politology and other social studies. I still remember that about 20 years ago when Hugo Chavez was still alive, let the soil be very heavy for him, and he, if something exists after that, let him feel what he did. And I remember when he was still alive, and he was, of course, dictator of Venezuela, despotic ruler of Venezuela de facto, and commie, as he was. In many countries, including Central European countries, many students who were studying then social studies or politologies or political sciences, I don't know why it's called sciences, because it has nothing to do with science, but okay. They were saying, yeah, neither capitalism nor socialism third way Venezuela. Hugo Chavez shows the way how we should follow. And I couldn't believe, hey, have you read his program? Do you have any idea how economy works? And are you familiar with basic texts about communism, fascism, capitalism, monarchy, and so on? If you were familiar with basic texts about these political systems, you would recognize that Mr. Chavez is nothing more than commie who is not an atheist, because of course he rejected atheism. He was claiming that he called himself Christian, but this what he was following in his confession was nothing more than mixture of element of Catholicism and communistic liberation theology, like all of this crap one can read from this famous book among leftists, Open Veins of Latin America by Mr. Gateano. So it was something like leftist gnosis with elements of Catholicism, so leftist Christian gnosis. But okay, the only difference between many hardcore communists and Mr. Chavez was the fact that he was not an atheist. Okay, so we see how the things look like, and at the end of the day, I still remember that these students were so fascinated by so-called third way Venezuela was following. And now I meet the same people about 18, 20 years ago, and they don't remember what they were saying. Now they are amazed by, again, Sweden, Norway, and other stuff, and they do not remember that they were prizing Venezuela. They even do not want to talk about it, because they behave as their lecturers were behaving, that they simply follow the fashion in leftist environment, and they follow, as leftists call it, wisdom of the stage. So that today something is true, but tomorrow something else is announced to be true. And about 20 years ago, Venezuela was fancy case, but now when it completely collapsed, no. So no one was praising it, because they even claimed that they knew that it would finish like this. Or some more cynical are saying that system that was proposed by Chavez was good, but people are not mature enough to make it happen. Oh, yeah. I heard such pseudo arguments from the leftist side many times, that socialism is great, but people are not yet mature enough to make it happen in this world. Oh wow. So are we making system for people, or are we making people for the system? And socialists always makes the same mistake, that they want to create new humans, so they want to make people for the system, whose assumptions they created in their crazy heads, nothing else. And that's why they need to introduce terror and poverty and hatred, and nothing works quite quickly at the end of the day. And the same thing happened in Venezuela, but what am I getting at? I'm getting at to the point that there are fashions in politics on the left especially, and I wanted to tell you, especially young listeners, don't follow these fashions. Always read classical books about politics like Leviathan or Behemoth by Mr. Hobbes, and many other books like Mr. Scraton, his works, like Mr. Alain de Benoit and others, and or if you would like to be a little bit more specialistic and would like to know the evolution of the systems, you can read Ernst Nolte's book about fascism and so on. And then no one will deceive you about the third path. There is no third path between capitalistic systems in economy and socialistic systems in economy or politics. There is no third path. It's either this or that. Syncretism, synthesis are not possible, because at the end of the day, if someone even tries it, everything ends up in a heavy socialism / communism hell. And Venezuela is the very good case that they were stupid enough to try so-called third way, but at the end of the day, people who always try some so-called third way end up in the leftist hell. The same happens to many nationalists who would like to reject, because of some social inequalities alleged, would like to reject clearly capitalistic and market assumption to the economy. They, of course, with nationalistic assumptions, go to the left really strongly, and then nationalism finds itself also in a natural environment, because we should remember that nationalism has also leftist roots, and nationalism treats people collectively, so there is no other way for the nationalism to be on the right side if there is no huge support by the economic reality of the real market. I'm not using free market because it's theoretical, but real economy market, and based on competition and capitalistic assumptions, so based on competition and profits. If we eliminate this, then even nationalists who follow into this will end up in national version of socialism or communism, and it will end up equally bad as it happened with Venezuela. All the best, have a nice day, bye.